Hello, I'm Sarah with Soiledplant, and I'm going to be potting up some of the plants that I got from my international shipments today. So I'll go over my soil mix and everything. Sorry for cats. He is being extra snuggly right now. It's Sunday afternoon, so this is prime nap time, so he wants to be here. We'll see how long that lasts. Yeah. So I'm going to go over how I make my soil and sort of pot everything up and hopefully get these plants in a happy spot and not in water anymore. So I have my plants to the side over here that we're gonna pot up today. I've got several different pot sizes. I have plastic and terracotta to see kind of what I'm thinking. And then I've got a bowl to do all of my mixing in, and I'll tell you kind of how my mix works. The mix I use is 25% orchid bark, 25% perlite or pumice. You could go either way. I use pumice at first and I really like it, but it does make the pots heavier, like noticeably heavier. So when you check your plants by lifting them up and seeing how heavy they are, I know a lot of people do that. You know, it's going to be a little bit harder with the pumice because it's going to feel heavier all the time. So it's going to be a little more difficult to tell because the water weight is going to be so much less of a percentage than the pumice, if that makes any sense. Another option, if you want something to aerate the soil, is using cactus soil mix. It's pretty good and it works about the same as a pumice. So 25% orchid bark, 25% perlite or pumice, and then I do 20% coir, let me know if I'm saying that right, 10% charcoal, and then 10% worm castings. So I'll show you my coir, which is kind of the base of any soil mix. What I do is I buy the bricks, and I can show you what one of those looks like. Coir bricks look about like this. Plantonix brand, or at least the last time I bought this brand. It came in a 3-pack, it's great. One brick kind of fills up an entire container of this size, so it's a hefty amount. You can also buy it loose. It's just cheaper to buy it this way and more economical for shipping. Here's all my coir. You have to add water to it in order to sort of rehydrate it. And it's this nice, you know, fluffy, sort of the most resembling dirt or soil out of everything in this mix. I also have a tiny little pot in here that I use for just basically moving it into the big container. Then perlite or pumice. So here's the pumice. I have like the tiniest amount left in here, so I'll use that up today. And I've got a big bag of perlite that I have at the ready to replace it. I have a bag of charcoal. This is pretty expensive, but it goes a long way. Orchid bark, I just picked this up at either a Lowe's or a Home Depot, you know, just whatever they have. I'm not really brand loyal to anything, but that's where I got this. And here is my worm castings. So it's all rolled up, but I bought this from Amazon because I wasn't able to find it locally, so I'll make sure to link that for you. I've got quite a few different plants I need to pot up, so I have a feeling I'm going to go through multiple batches. Use up this pumice. I try to use the same little container just so my volumes are about this, measured about the same. So that's about a half of a container. This is going to be one of those ones where it's like, there's a pull tab, but good luck opening it. Much better. I'll do charcoal because it's the closest to me. Nice. It's alright, my hands are going to be really dirty by the end of this anyway, so if you're not getting dirty, you're playing with soil to begin with, right? And with the orchid bark, some of the pieces can be a little too big, and if you can't break it in half, I would just pick them out. You know, it is what it is. Now worm castings, last but not least. So now that everything is in the bowl, I'm just going to mix it with my hands. You can use a spoon or whatever you want. And so as you're mixing this, you know, if you're familiar with how soil's supposed to look and kind of what you're looking for. You know, add little things here and there to make it even. You know, if I mix this all up and I'm like, whoa, that is so much perlite, this looks like snow, which is kind of what I'm looking at right now. Because this is the first time I'm using perlite. I've always used pumice, but I didn't like how heavy it made my pots. So I was like, oh, let me switch over to perlite, you know. And I think I need more coir, just a little bit. So I just added a little bit more coir right on the top, about 2 of those little little terracotta pots full. All right, so that is about what the soil turns out like. So just a note, this is kind of the mix I use for philodendrons, monsteras, kind of the standard middle of the road pothos this would be good for. If you're doing something for calatheas or something that likes to stay a little more on the moist side, I would subtract some of the perlite and orchid bark, but not too much. You still need those in there for sure, but scale them back a little bit. Also on the other side, if you've got a plant that likes being dry, so you have, you know, your ZZ plants or snake plants, Hoyas, things like that, you probably want to add more of those things in order to keep the soil a little more on the dry side. For the first plant that I'm going to pot up, I'm going to plant up this Alocasia Silver Dragon. So when this came to me, it had one leaf that was pretty much dead on it already. I've lost another one, and this one's on the way out as well. I think I'm going to cut this already spent one off and then just work on planting this up. Ooh, uh-oh. My roots are very mushy. Oh no, hold on a sec. So just to prove that I am being really real with you guys here, the roots are completely mush. I'm not sure what happened. They were wonderful when they got in from shipping, and I just put it in water, and it's been in water for about 2 weeks, but I've never seen roots do this before. They're not moldy, they're just super soft, like they're squishy. I could break them super easily. And I'm trying to figure out why that is. So I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research here and find out what's going on. Maybe I lost them at the base here. Oh, I don't know. So many things are just like rotting off of this. This is not good. This one may not survive. Oh, this smells so bad. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave the roots and the plant out like this for a bit while I'm planting up the other ones. Hopefully, I don't know, I'll have to do some research after this video, but yeah, this one's definitely not going to get potted up today. Oh man, I hope you survive because it's so pretty. Oh, that's, oh. All right, and that smells awful. This smells completely awful. So let me find a spot to put this temporarily. That's a bummer and a horrible way to start off a video. All right, next one. Let's try the other Alocasia because now I'm scared for it. So this is the Cuprea, the gigantic Cuprea. It had 3 leaves, and the first one already fell off, and this one is, I knew it was on the way out when I got it, but let's see if we have the same issue. No, these ones are still firm, so okay, good. So maybe it's not like an Alocasia thing where don't put Alocasias in water, that's terrible, that's the worst thing you could do to it. At least that doesn't seem to be the case. And it does have a bunch of new little roots sprouting out on the side over here, so that's good. That means it's healthy. All right, so let me kind of set this on a paper towel so I can kind of get a sense of the root system. Does that look about right? I think that's good, at least for starter. We can always size up later. So I'm going to use just a little container like this. I get these when I order cat food. They're like a little lid. And it's really good at containing soil for the most part. So I'm going to start filling up the bottom of this pot. I'm kind of pushing it to the sides a little bit so it has a little dip in the middle. Some of these roots are squishy too. Some of them are nice and hard and some of them are squishy. And while this may be a bad idea, I kind of want to cut off the squishy ones. And some of them are nice and stiff and then they turn squishy. So I think those are rotten. So I'm going to cut those off. I mean, I'm guessing here, but it's kind of an educated guess. If, you know, your roots are basically mush, then they're not going to do anything anymore. All right. So it's decreased in size quite a bit, obviously, but that's still a good root system. You still have the tuber, so it'll probably have a bit of stress trying to acclimate to the new environment. Oop. I'm going to try and get the stem as vertical as possible, even though the plant is now going to be not looking forward anymore. The leaves will move, and but I want to make sure the stem is as straight up and down as possible. And lightly press that down, very, very lightly. I'm going to tamp it a bit, just to fill in any holes. So we have one done. Now it's going to be kind of loosey-goosey in there a little bit while it's kind of, the roots are going to start grabbing onto things. Also, watering kind of helps stabilize it a little bit. So even though my coir has some moisture to it, it doesn't have nearly enough. So after you pot it up, you want to thoroughly water it and let it drain. All right, so it's in here, soil's all settled in, been watered, and this one's done for now. So I'm going to set this one aside and work on the next one. All right, next one, I hope we have a little bit better luck. So this is the philodendron cobra I think we're going to do next. Let's see how these roots are. There's a couple little pieces that are squishy, but not very many. And a lot of these longer roots are getting kind of these new little shoots coming off of it, so it's happy, at least relatively. I'm concentrating very hard on these roots right now. These ones really like to climb, but right now I don't have kind of the pot and moss pole equipment necessary to put this together the way I'd like to. So for now, I'm just going to put it in a regular pot and hope in the future I start learning how to make moss poles. I've never made one before, and I've kind of put off having to do them, but I think now that I'm buying some of these plants that are really, really, you know, designed to be climbers, I'm going to definitely have to bone up on that skill for sure. Generally, when I pot, I like to keep a little bit of a lip on the top end, just so that, you know, if I ever have to top dress in the future, or, you know, when I'm watering, I don't want to have to, you know, have it spill over the top if I'm watering it quickly. But also I just think it looks better too, and it's less likely to kind of get dirt all over the place. All right, so that one is potted up. I'm going to go water it real quick, and there we go. It's all potted up. It's got this little saucer. How cute is that? So I will get a moss pole for it eventually, and I've potted it up in a smaller pot, not too small for the roots to get nice, big, and healthy, and the plant to do well, but it'll definitely need to be repotted kind of sooner as a result. So next time I repot, I'll definitely make sure that I am an expert moss pole maker by that point. All right, next in line is our philodendron verrucosum. This has got some brand new roots. They're hot pink roots. How fancy. Now for this one, I am going to give it a moss pole because this one definitely grows up, and it grows better when it's on a pole. The problem is all of my pots are too short for this stake, and I don't really have anything to shorten this because it's basically a solid cedar stake. So it's going to look kind of stupid, but I want to make sure I do this right as far as making sure there's a moss pole for it. So I'm thinking that it's going to look silly. There's going to be a big gap of cedar. And it's like such a small root ball for that big pot though. I feel like this is going to be a mistake. So I feel like for a small root ball like that, I should stick to these smaller pots. You know what, let me try something real quick. I bought a bunch of bamboo sticks a while ago, mainly to use as kind of, I make little tripods of these and use those to hold up my Monstera Deliciosa. And I'm thinking if I cut this down and just at least give it a stake to grow up, but it won't be covered in moss, but it'd be better than nothing. So let me see if I can just, you know, cut this down to size. Nice. So I kind of serrated the outside so that it had a breaking point and then just broke it across my knee, and that worked pretty well. So what if I give this one something like that to grow up? Like, this is bamboo and it doesn't have any sort of moss on it or anything, but that's better than nothing, right? I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I don't mind that. I don't mind that as a solution, at least of things I have accessible to me right now. Seems about right. Slightly pressing. And I'm going to use just a little bit of twine to kind of hold it gently to the stake that I put in there. So one thing I did want to talk about is my experience with YouTube. So I've been doing this for a little bit, got a couple of videos up, and so far so good. I'm pretty happy with kind of the small amount of growth I've had. You know, I'm not super, I wasn't expecting much, and I'm honestly, you know, really happy with the amount of people I'm getting, you know, and views I'm getting, things like that. Like, I'm actually very, very happy with kind of my little corner of the internet here. One thing that really lucked out, when I posted my Green Spaces ID video, it happened to be just a couple of days before Harley G posted her video on Green Spaces. And so I think a couple of people were like, oh, this is interesting, and decided to look up other videos on Green Spaces that were posted recently. So I got a little bit of a micro boost from that. So that was actually pretty cool, an unexpected bit of luck. But overall, no, everything's been great. So yeah, I've been very, very happy with my response, pretty lucky. You'll notice I'm in the same place location-wise in my house a lot, and that is because I don't have a tripod. So right now you're stacked on board games and cookbooks, and it's hard to move around because I can't get angles or things like that. It has to pretty much be straight up and down, and there's only so many places I can position the camera or my phone. All of my video and editing has been done on my phone, and I ordered a new computer. The computer I have right now is 9 years old, so getting a new one was necessary anyway, but I'm kind of looking forward to all the different editing and how much easier it is and how much better I can make my editing for my videos. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, I'm ordering a microphone to improve the sound and a tripod. So yeah, I definitely think, you know, it's not a huge investment. The computer's a huge investment, but I needed to buy a new computer anyway. The microphone and the tripod, you know, it's not that much in the grand scheme of things, especially considering, you know, how much I pay for plants. Yeah, so I think it'll definitely improve the look and feel of my videos. I certainly don't mind the way they look now. I'm pretty happy with them, but I'll be interesting to see where it goes from here and how much better I get. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. All right, now this is ready to go be watered. And there we are. The varicosum has been very, very happy after I brought it in. It hasn't lost a single leaf. The root system was really good, and I've got this new one coming in. That was, you know, it was a new growth point when I got it, but it seems very happy. It's perked up quite a bit. So I'm very happy, and it's bounced back super great. I have 3 more plants to pot up, so I'm going to make another double batch of soil. Yeah, my experience has been very good so far. You know, I haven't seen anything, you know, to dissuade me. Not that it would, you know, it might take a lot to dissuade me. But, you know, everybody's been cool. Everybody's been very nice. I haven't had any weird altercations or anything like that. I'm still very new, so I have a feeling that's still to come, but for now everything is completely fine. I'm putting in a little bit less perlite this time. Not a ton less, but a little bit less. So next, I've got these Epipremnum Cebu Blue cuttings. I have the mother plant in my bathroom, and this has been in water since March, and you know, it's gotten new growth from being in here and everything. So it definitely needs to be potted up. I made cuttings so that I could bring them to a plant exchange, and then it got canceled, of course, because of all the COVID nonsense. So, you know, I figure I'll at least pot it up just to keep the plant happy. Let me get a gander at the roots. So I've got 3 different cuttings in here. And all of them are pretty strong. So all of these roots are grown since March. And there's 3 different, oh, this one didn't grow at all. This cutting didn't ever root. Didn't really die either. Actually, that's kind of impressive. I wonder if I should recut it and still plant it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to recut it. You know, this node seems to be dead, so I'll try to go on this node here. I'll cut it, dip that little end in root hormone. I'm told that these don't work, but I figure, you know, if I remember to use it, might as well, right? And then I'll still pot it up. And if it doesn't make it, it doesn't make it. All right, let's fill this one up. I want these all. So those are the 2 big ones that are doing really well. And this is my root hormone one that I will kind of nestle in there. All right, so there is the pothos. And I will go put her back in the window where I had her before. Awesome. This next one has been in water forever. And that's all my fault, because I put it off because I didn't have a moss pole for it, and then when I got the moss poles, I wasn't happy with the moss poles I got. Yeah, this thing is suffering, and it's a lot to do with being my fault, so I can't really blame it for not doing great. So when I got the melanochrysum, it had 2 big leaves and then 1 coming in. One of them fell off, one of the big leaves. This one's still an original, and then the new one growing in is rotting away. So I'm going to cut that off, but it has another new growth point. So it's kind of a wash, but I'm definitely going to pot this up. And I bought those moss poles specifically for this plant, and then just bought a few extra for when I got other plants. But I'm not impressed with them. And I don't know what else to say about that, really. I wonder if I can use the other side of this bamboo to kind of do the same thing that I did with the other one, where I want this a little bit shorter though. Place where you want the cut to be. Now this is a short end, so I'm not sure I'm gonna get the right leverage over my knee with that. Ah! Whew! I couldn't do it on my knee, I had to do it against the chair, but it worked. I got a couple inches off the end there, so that's a better height. Yeah, I think that's the right size for this. Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing where it all goes. You know, I always am. I'm always, you know, intrigued whether things are gonna kind of work out or not. But we'll see where the channel goes. You know, I'll keep putting up content. You know, I try to do a few videos, you know, in a weekend and try to like have some buffer in there so that I don't miss any weeks. But I don't have a lot of time during the week to work on it. I usually use time during the week to edit. But I think it'll go pretty well. You know, with the new equipment I'm ordering, everything's just gonna be like top notch. It's all gonna be great. Oh man, I'm running low on soil again because I've got one more plant, so I might have to do another quick half batch. All right, I'm just concentrating super hard on these plants. I've been on a root beer kick lately where I've just been craving root beer and nothing else. It's just so good. So it's all watered, ready to go. And I'm not going to tie this one to the pole yet because I want to make sure, you know, it's standing up just fine on its own right now. I'll tie it up when I need to. But my little bamboo stake is ready whenever she is. So this one's all ready to go. It's happy. I'm going to go put it back. Last but not least here, I have my Syngonium elbow. Brand new paper towel because this is going to be so many roots. So many. Oh my goodness. What is it with Syngoniums and having the biggest root structure known to man? I don't know how in the world that works. Yeah, everything feels good. All right. Maybe it's my imagination. But this has a nice big root structure. So I'm going to go a size up on the pot. So this one's the same height as the other ones I was using, but it's a little wider. Let's use up the rest of what's in here. I can kind of gauge how much more soil I need. The thing is that I'm trying to decide is basically what I'm going to do with that dragon scale. Because now that I've been sitting here and thinking about it and planting up all these other ones, I'm trying to like logic my way out of it. Let me go grab it real quick. Just as a side note, root rot smells horrible. You know, it smells like decay. There's no way I'm going to be able to save it. The roots, that is. The plant, I think I can revive. You know, it's got plenty of leaves left, so I think I'm just going to start chopping away at the root rot. That's what's going to happen. This hurts my soul. I feel like I did something wrong. Because all the other plants are fine. They had little pieces and they all came in at the same time. So why did mine get all rotted away and nasty? This smells disgusting. I also feel like I should have caught this earlier because all of the plants that I got in from both shipments, when I put them in water, oh, my cat's interested in what's going on. Hi, honey. When I put all of my other plants in water, the water stayed clear the whole time it was in that pot. With this one, the water kept clouding up and it had like a film on the top. And I thought that there was just something on the roots or in the roots, but it was like that pretty much since I got it in the mail. So I wonder, like, even though I probably didn't catch it soon enough and I didn't, you know, there was probably something along the lines I didn't do. I think also part of it is because of how the plant came to me, because it immediately started rotting the second I got it. I guess it's just, you know, par for the course, I guess, of ordering online. Oh gosh, this smells so bad. Like, oh, that's, oh gosh. I have a pretty strong stomach, by the way, and this smells awful. I'm trying to decide whether I want to actually plant it or not. I mean, it's got new roots coming out. All these little white spikes are new roots that are developing, so it's not gonna die. The plant itself can survive. I'm not sure if all these leaves will survive. It's revivable, is what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to take as much of the rot off as possible. I just wonder if I should put this in water or I should immediately put it in soil. I'm gonna need to like smell flowers or perfume or something after this just to like forget the smell of rotten plant. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to plant this up, but I'm going to plant it in a small pot. The problem is the only pots I really have are a little 2-inch pot and then one of those. And while the plant would look much nicer in one of these, that might be too much soil, but that's probably too little. So if I put it in this one, honestly, I think that would be fine, because as far as, you know, percentage of root to container, it'll probably outgrow it before the end of the summer, right? So if I put it in here and then just check on it every couple of months, take it out, see if I can even see roots, and the second I see roots, just transplant it into a bigger pot. You poor thing, I want you to live. So this wouldn't be a update from plants overseas if there wasn't, you know, drama, right? I kind of wonder if I should put my rooting medium on that, because it basically has the roots of a cutting now. Let me get a Q-tip. So welcome to a quick lesson in how my brain works. But I just constantly am thinking about, you know, is this the right thing? What are solutions? You know, calculating it all out. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my root hormone on the base of this plant and see if it helps it root faster and if it's, you know, kind of revives itself a little quicker. But I'm going to apply it, so I'm applying so much, I'm going to actually apply it with a Q-tip. Because it says for like rootings and cuttings, and I mean that's kind of what this is at this point. Paint it on there and see if that helps. Figure it can't hurt, right? Take the other end that's clean so I can dip it back in. So I'm gonna set this to the side again. I just try, like I'm on the seat of my pants, you know? I'm not, there's no plan. I just do it. And luckily, plants are resilient enough to deal with all of my random thoughts. So I'm actually going to pot up this guy first. I want to make sure I use everything up. Well, I'm going to have to keep a very close eye on this. I'm probably going to have to water it very frequently because of the root situation. This is going to stress me out. So for the whole next week, I'm going to dream about this plant. I'm going to think about this plant constantly. This is going to be kind of my primary focus for the next little bit. You know, crisis aside, is this not the cutest little thing you've ever seen? I'm looking forward to her surviving and getting bigger. Now back to the Syngonium, who's been waiting patiently. I am curious to know what your guys' opinion of that Alocasia Silver Dragon is. You know, what would you do in a situation like that? What did I do wrong? What did I do right? You know, it's not too hard for me to go back and fix something if something is done incorrectly. So please let me know if I am, you know, way out of left field and I should have handled it completely different. I am just short of soil. I'm gonna have to make another micro batch. All right, micro batch of soil. Yeah, that's generally the potting soil I'll use. I'll make sure I link everything below that I can find for you. Thank you for watching my potting video. Sorry I wasn't talking to you very much. I was concentrating quite a bit on the plants themselves to make sure everything was going the way I wanted. And, you know, of course this one threw me for an entire loop. But yeah, please, please, please give me recommendations on what I should do about this. If I did the right thing, if I should leave it alone, if my plan, you think it'll work or not. Also, let me know if you have any, you know, hypotheses why all of the roots rotted on it. Is that just the nature of ordering things overseas, that just happens once in a while? Or was there something going on with the plant before it was shipped? You know, all of these things, I have no idea, but it definitely behaved differently than my other ones, and I'll keep you updated on how it's doing. So thank you very much for watching. This was definitely a long one, so I appreciate the few of you who are sticking in and watching the whole video, but I will catch you next time. Bye.